The philosophical inquiry into the nature of human mortality has, in recent decades, undergone a radical transformation, moving away from the fatalistic acceptance of decay and toward a sophisticated, molecular understanding of the biological mechanisms that govern the pace of our aging. We no longer view the senior years as an inevitable period of systemic collapse, but rather as a complex challenge of cellular maintenance and energy management, where the most important player is a molecule so fundamental to life that without it, every living organism would cease to function within seconds. This molecule is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, more universally known as NAD+, a coenzyme found in every single cell of the human body, acting as the bridge between the food we consume and the biological energy that sustains our existence. To truly understand the gravity of the NAD+ crisis facing the elderly today, one must visualize the body not as a static object but as a vibrant, high-energy metropolis of 37 trillion cells, each functioning as a microscopic factory. In these factories, NAD+ is the master electrical worker, responsible for two primary and equally vital tasks. First, it serves as the essential cofactor in the production of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the universal energy currency that allows our heart to beat, our lungs to expand, and our neurons to fire. And second, it acts as a critical signaling molecule that tells our DNA how to repair itself and which genes to turn on or off in response to stress. However, as we journey through the decades of our lives, the levels of this indispensable coenzyme undergo a relentless and catastrophic decline. Scientific measurements have revealed a sobering reality. By the time an individual reaches middle age, their NAD+ levels have often plummeted by 50%, and by the age of 80, the reservoir is nearly dry, leaving the body's repair systems paralyzed and its energy production facilities in a state of brownout. This depletion is not a mere side effect of growing older. It is the very engine of the aging process itself, driving the mitochondrial dysfunction, genomic instability, and chronic inflammation that manifest as the diseases of old age. While the modern healthcare industry has responded to this discovery by flooding the market with expensive, laboratory-synthesized NAD+ precursors like nicotinamide riboside, NR, and nicotinamide mononucleotide, NMN, a deeper and more rigorous analysis of human physiology reveals a startling truth. There are three specific food categories that possess a natural biological intelligence capable of boosting NAD+ levels more effectively, more safely, and more sustainably than any pharmaceutical intervention currently available. These foods do not simply provide an isolated chemical. They engage the body's ancient, evolved pathways for recycling, they neutralize the enzymatic thieves that steal our NAD+, and they provide a complex matrix of cofactors that ensure the energy created is used to heal rather than just to survive. To understand the profound superiority of these natural sources, we must first embark on an exhaustive exploration of the biochemistry of NAD+, and why its loss is so particularly devastating for the elderly population. Within the microscopic world of the cell, NAD+ exists in a constant state of flux, alternating between its oxidized form, NAD+, and its reduced form, NADH. This redox cycle is the fundamental mechanism of cellular respiration. Imagine the mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, as a furnace. In this furnace, the electrons from the carbohydrates and fats you eat are the fuel. NAD+ acts as the specialized shovel that carries these high-energy electrons into the furnace. Without enough NAD+, the fuel sits unused, the furnace goes cold, and the cell enters a state of metabolic crisis. For a senior citizen, this manifests as the profound physical fatigue and brain fog that are so often dismissed as just getting old. But the role of NAD+ extends far beyond simple energy production. In the early 1990s, scientists discovered a family of proteins called sirtuins, which have since been dubbed the longevity genes. These sirtuins are the master regulators of cellular health. They are responsible for deacetylating proteins, which is a fancy way of saying they clean up and repair the software of our cells. They ensure that the DNA is packed correctly, that damaged genes are silenced, and that the cell remains focused on its specific job rather than turning into a dysfunctional or cancerous cell. However, sirtuins are NAD+ dependent enzymes. They literally consume NAD+ as fuel to do their work. Every time a sirtuin repairs a piece of DNA or calms down an inflammatory response, it burns a molecule of NAD+. In a young person, the body easily recycles this used NAD+ back into its active form. But in the elderly, this recycling mechanism, known as the salvage pathway, becomes sluggish and inefficient. At the same time, the older body is under more stress, more DNA damage from a lifetime of environmental exposure and more oxidative stress from less efficient mitochondria. This creates a perfect storm, where the demand for NAD+ is at its highest just as the supply is at its lowest. Furthermore, we must address the thieves of NAD+ that become hyperactive in the senior years. The most notorious of these is an enzyme called CD38. Under normal conditions, CD38 plays a role in immune signaling, but as we age and experience inflammaging, the chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation that plagues the elderly, CD38 levels skyrocket. This enzyme acts like a massive leak in a water tank, breaking down NAD+ molecules at an incredible rate before they can ever be used for energy or repair. Research has shown that in the tissues of older individuals, CD38 can be responsible for up to 80% of the NAD+ decline. This is precisely why synthetic supplements often fail to live up to their promises. If you take a high-dose NMN pill but your CD38 levels are through the roof, you are essentially pouring expensive water into a bucket full of holes. The pharmaceutical approach is to provide more water, but the biological approach, the approach found in specific whole foods, is to plug the holes while simultaneously revitalizing the body's own water production machinery. The first of these three revolutionary food categories is the family of cruciferous vegetables, most notably broccoli, cabbage, and bok choy. For many years, these vegetables were recommended to seniors primarily for their fiber content and their role in preventing digestive issues. But cutting-edge research from institutions like the Washington University School of Medicine has unveiled a much more profound mechanism. These vegetables are naturally rich in nicotinamide mononucleotide, NMN, the very molecule that is being sold in supplement stores for hundreds of dollars. However, the NMN found in a head of broccoli is packaged within a complex plant matrix that includes a unique transporter protein called SLC12A8. This transporter acts like a high-speed express lane in the small intestine, allowing the NMN from the vegetable to be absorbed directly into the bloodstream and converted into NAD+ within minutes. But the true power of cruciferous vegetables lies in a secondary compound called sulforaphane. When you chew a piece of raw or lightly steamed broccoli, a chemical reaction occurs that releases sulforaphane, which is perhaps the most potent natural activator of the NRF2 pathway. The NRF2 pathway is the body's master architect of antioxidant defense. By activating NRF2, sulforaphane triggers the production of hundreds of protective enzymes that neutralize the free radicals that cause DNA damage. This is critical because, as we discussed, DNA damage is what forces the cell to use up its NAD+ reserves. By eating cruciferous vegetables, a senior is performing a strategic pincer movement on the aging process. The NMN provides the raw fuel to boost NAD+, while the sulforaphane reduces the need for that fuel by protecting the DNA from damage in the first place. This explains why elderly populations who consume high amounts of these vegetables show significantly better cardiovascular health, as their blood vessels remain flexible and their heart muscle cells remain energetically robust. To get the most benefit, it is essential that these vegetables are not overcooked. Light steaming for 3 to 4 minutes preserves the heat-sensitive enzymes required to unlock these life-extending compounds. The second category of food that surpasses the efficacy of drugs is fermented foods, with traditional kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut leading the way. The relationship between the gut microbiome and aging is one of the most exciting frontiers in medical science, often referred to as the gut NAD+ axis. We now know that the trillions of bacteria living in our intestines are not just passive passengers. They are active metabolic partners. Certain beneficial bacteria, particularly the lactobacillus and bifidobacterium strains found in high-quality fermented dairy and vegetables, have the incredible ability to synthesize B vitamins, including nicotinic acid and nicotinamide, which are direct precursors to NAD+. When a senior incorporates fermented foods into their daily diet, they are essentially installing a living factory in their gut that continuously pumps out NAD+ precursors. But the benefits of fermentation go even deeper. Fermented foods are rich in natural polyphenol and specific organic acids that have been shown in laboratory settings to be potent inhibitors of the CD38 enzyme, the NAD plus thief we discussed earlier. By suppressing CD38, these foods allow the body to maintain higher systemic levels of NAD+ without the need for massive supplemental doses. This has profound implications for the elderly, particularly concerning inflammaging. Chronic inflammation is driven by overactive immune cells, and these immune cells are the primary site of CD38 activity. By calming the immune system and inhibiting CD38 through fermented foods, we address the root cause of the NAD+ drain. For the senior viewer, this translates into reduced joint pain, better skin elasticity, and a stronger immune response. Moreover, the probiotics in these foods strengthen the gut barrier, preventing leaky gut syndrome, which is a major trigger for the inflammation that destroys NAD+ in the first place. The synergy of providing precursors while simultaneously stopping the enzymatic destruction of the molecule makes fermented foods a superior biological intervention compared to any isolated synthetic precursor. The third and perhaps most vital pillar of this natural NAD+ strategy is the consumption of nutrient-dense animal proteins, specifically grass-fed beef liver and oily, cold-water fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. In our modern society, organ meats have largely fallen out of favor, yet they represent the most concentrated source of the entire NAD+ assembly kit available in nature. Beef liver is exceptionally high in vitamin B3, niacin, but more importantly, it provides a massive dose of the amino acid tryptophan. The body can convert tryptophan into NAD+ through a complex series of 8 chemical steps, known as the de novo synthesis pathway. While this pathway is energy-intensive, it is the body's fundamental way of ensuring survival. Furthermore, these animal-sourced foods are the world's best sources of the essential cofactors: vitamin B12, heme iron, and riboflavin B2. To understand why this matters, imagine trying to build a house. Even if you have all the bricks, NAD+ precursors, you cannot finish the job without the mortar and the tools, the cofactors. B12 and riboflavin are the enzymes' hands that allow them to actually build the NAD+ molecule and use it in the mitochondria. This is where supplements often fail seniors. An NMN pill provides the bricks, but if the senior is deficient in B12 or iron, which is extremely common in the elderly, the house of cellular energy never gets built. For the aging brain, the impact of these foods is nothing short of miraculous. The brain is the most energy-demanding organ in the body, and its ability to clear out the toxic plaques associated with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's depends entirely on the activity of NAD+-fueled sirtuins and the efficiency of the mitochondria in neurons. By providing the brain with the full spectrum of precursors and cofactors found in liver and oily fish, we support cognitive resilience, memory retention, and mental clarity. The omega-3 fatty acids in the fish also serve to reduce brain inflammation, further protecting the precious NAD+ supply within the central nervous system. When we compare these 3 natural food groups to pharmaceutical NAD+ boosters, the scientific evidence favors the whole food approach for several critical reasons involving biological synergy and metabolic balance. The human body is a masterpiece of homeostatic regulation. It does not like to be flooded with high doses of a single compound. When a senior takes a 1,000 milligrams dose of synthetic NR or NMN, the liver is suddenly overwhelmed. To maintain balance, the liver must attach a methyl group to the excess nicotinamide to prepare it for excretion through the urine. This process, known as methylation, is vital for hundreds of other functions. Oversupplementing with NAD+ precursors can lead to methyl depletion, which can actually worsen brain fog, cause depression, and impair liver function, the exact opposite of the desired effect. Conversely, the NAD+ precursors found in broccoli, kefir, and salmon are delivered in smaller, slow-release amounts, naturally balanced with the very methyl donors like folate and choline that the liver needs to process them. This ensures that the boost in cellular energy does not come at the cost of other vital biological systems. Furthermore, whole foods provide biological information. The phytochemicals in plants and the healthy fats in fish send signals to our cells to enter a repair and maintenance mode. A pill is a chemical. Food is a conversation with our genome. For the senior population, the benefits of this dietary focus extend into every corner of physiological health. One of the most significant areas is cardiovascular vitality. The heart is a muscle that never rests, and its cells are packed with more mitochondria than almost any other tissue. As NAD+ levels fall, the heart muscle can become stiff and less efficient at pumping blood, a condition known as diastolic dysfunction. By restoring NAD+ through the big three foods, we provide the heart with the fuel it needs to maintain its flexibility and strength. Clinical studies have shown that increasing NAD+ can also help to lower systolic blood pressure by improving the health of the endothelium, the thin layer of cells lining our blood vessels. When the endothelium has enough NAD+, it produces nitric oxide, which tells the arteries to relax and dilate. This is a critical defense against the strokes and heart attacks that are so prevalent in the senior years. Similarly, the metabolic benefits are profound. As we age, our bodies often lose the ability to manage blood sugar effectively, leading to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. NAD+ is a key player in the insulin signaling pathway. By boosting its levels naturally, we improve our metabolic flexibility, allowing the body to switch easily between burning sugar and burning fat, which helps to maintain a healthy weight and steady energy levels throughout the day. Practical integration of these foods into the daily life of a senior should be approached with both scientific rigor and culinary enjoyment. It is not necessary to consume massive quantities. Rather, the key is consistency and preparation. For the cruciferous vegetables, the strategy should be lightly cooked or raw. If you boil broccoli until it is mushy, you have destroyed the NMN and the sulforaphane-producing enzymes. Instead, try a quick steam or a finely shredded raw cabbage slaw. For the fermented foods, look for live and active cultures. Most commercial pickles are pasteurized with vinegar, which kills the beneficial bacteria. True anti-aging fermented foods are found in the refrigerated section and are made through natural lactofermentation. A small daily serving, half a cup of kefir or a few tablespoons of kimchi, is enough to transform the gut microbiome over time. Regarding the nutrient-dense proteins, the focus should be on quality. Grass-fed beef liver is superior because it contains a better balance of fatty acids and higher levels of vitamins than grain-fed alternatives. For those who find the taste of liver challenging, it can be finely minced and mixed into other meat dishes, or taken as a high-quality desiccated supplement that preserves the whole food matrix. We must also clear up several common misunderstandings and myths that often mislead seniors in their quest for health. The first is the idea that aging is written in the stars and cannot be changed. Modern science has proven that while our DNA is the blueprint, our lifestyle and diet are the contractors, who decide how that blueprint is executed. This is the field of epigenetics. By consuming NAD+ boosting foods, you are literally changing the expression of your genes, turning down the volume on pro-aging genes and turning up the volume on longevity genes. Another common myth is that it is too late to start. On the contrary, the body's ability to respond to nutritional signals remains remarkably intact even into the 90s. In fact, the older the individual, the more profound the impact, because the deficit being filled is so much greater. We must also be cautious of the more is better trap regarding synthetic supplements. The goal of a longevity protocol is not to reach superhuman levels of NAD+, but to restore the levels of a healthy 30-year-old, which is exactly what these three food categories are designed by nature to do. It is also important to consider the role of NAD+ conservation. In addition to eating the right foods, seniors should be aware of the habits that drain their NAD+ bank account. Excessive alcohol consumption is a major drain, as the liver uses massive amounts of NAD+ to detoxify ethanol. Similarly, a diet high in refined sugars and processed seed oils creates the very oxidative stress and inflammation that activate the NAD+ consuming PARPs and CD38. Therefore, the most effective anti-aging strategy is a balanced approach. Invest in your NAD+ through broccoli, kefir, and liver, while stopping the spending by avoiding processed toxins. Another powerful, free way to boost the effectiveness of these foods is through moderate exercise and timed feeding, often called intermittent fasting. When we go for a walk or wait a few extra hours between meals, our body senses a slight energy challenge. It responds by upregulating the NAMPT enzyme, which is the key gatekeeper of the NAD plus salvage pathway. This makes the NMN and niacin from your food even more effective. The psychological impact of this approach should not be overlooked. Many seniors feel a sense of helplessness as they face the physical changes of aging. By understanding the science of NAD+ and taking control of their nutrition, they regain a sense of agency over their own health. This empowerment is a vital component of long-term well-being. When you know that the broccoli on your plate is actively repairing your DNA, the act of eating becomes a proactive, joyful investment in your future. This is a far more positive and sustainable mindset than the pill for every ill mentality that dominates modern geriatric care. As we draw our exploration to a close, let us reflect on the incredible resilience of the human body. We are built to last, equipped with sophisticated systems for repair, regeneration, and energy production. The decline of NAD+ is a significant challenge, but it is one that we are well prepared to meet using the tools provided by nature. The big three food groups, the NMN-rich cruciferous vegetables, the probiotic-rich fermented foods, and the cofactor-dense animal proteins, represent a scientific trifecta that addresses the root causes of aging from multiple angles. They provide the fuel, they fix the machinery, and they protect the system from future damage. This is the true meaning of food as medicine. It is not a metaphor. It is a biochemical reality. By embracing these natural anti-aging compounds, the senior viewer is not just chasing a number on a birthday card. They are pursuing a health span that matches their lifespan. They are choosing a life of vitality, where the senior years are characterized not by what has been lost, but by the wisdom, energy, and engagement that remain. The future of health for the elderly is not found in a secret laboratory or a miracle drug. It is found in the deep, symbiotic relationship between our cells and the nutrient-dense world around us. Let this knowledge be your guide as you navigate the coming years. Start with small, manageable changes. A bit of sauerkraut here, a serving of steamed broccoli there, a piece of wild salmon for dinner. Listen to your body as its energy levels begin to stabilize, as your mind feels sharper, and as your physical resilience grows. You have the power to influence your biological destiny, one meal at a time. The NAD+ revolution is here, and it is served on a plate. Embrace it with confidence, with scientific understanding, and with the joyful expectation of many vibrant, healthy years to come. This is your journey toward a rejuvenated self, fueled by the most powerful compounds nature has ever devised, ensuring that your later years are truly your best years, lived with the strength, clarity, and vitality that you deserve.